Recently, Brother Narendra Reddy visited Malaysia. During his visit, he said if Vedic chanting is not properly done, it gives negative results, brother. If so, what should centers do now? If pronunciation is not proper, shall we stop this at the center?
That is true. Swami also has said that. Maybe that is what Brother Narendra was saying. It is good to have somebody who knows it well to teach everybody. You don't have to stop it, but maybe some amount of practice and learn it from a person who has knowledge would be a good thing.
Comment that. It's not just Vedic chanting, you know. That's a Sanskrit against Sanskrit. Now, if any language is speaking, let's say now a Chinese person trying to speak Tamil. If Allah can speak it properly, it's good, okay? You know, so any language, anything you say, learn how to say it properly. You know, so not just so likewise Vedic chanting, or even what Tevarams or any yesterday's the boy, that example of the yesterday's play, you know, our friend speaking Malay, he speaks a bit like me, it's in Malay, you know. Ask my wife, she'll tell you, okay? So like that. So I think his sister made a very good point, okay? So if they got concerned about that, then get someone who can give the proper pronunciation and learn it. It's good for us to say, you know, not only that, even bhajans or whatever you all sing, you know. More important, the one is the pronunciation. Number two, please understand what we are saying. You know. That's why I tell you, if everybody is singing bhajan, you don't know what you're singing. You know. You really don't know what you're singing. I always tell the story. Right. She heard me tell one story. She heard me tell some overseas somewhere. This one story, this fellow, you know, he will chant all them. He went to the Balvikas class with his father. He learned all the Balvikas, he learned all the mantras in the world, okay? And he learned all, he doesn't know the meaning, you know. So every morning he'll sit, at 5 o'clock, he'll sit in his prayer room. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namo, Om Gam Ganapati Namo. He went on 1 hour, mantras. Finally, 1 hour every day, 1 hour, 1 year, 2 years, finally God got fed up, you know. Because who won't get fed up 5 o'clock in the morning, you wake him up, you know, chant 1 hour. So the altar exploded. And then stood dum, Shiva stood there, you know. Prabhu, he said, he said, my son, Prabhu, come, my son. He said, come where, Prabhu? My son, I'm taking you away from this world. Swami, is it temporary or permanent, Swami? Permanently, my son. So why, Swami? My son, every day you're chanting, take me. You know, in your mantras, so I've come to grant you your wish. Swami, where? Which mantra? The third mantra, my son, he says, take me, Kaivalyam, you want to, immortality, moksha. Swami, I'll never chant the mantra again, Swami, please forgive me. Get what it is. Know the meaning of the mantra you chant, okay? Know the meaning of the bhajans you're singing, you know. Because why? The scary thing, God may give you what you want, okay?
Some center leaders and devotees say we should not invite politicians to Sai functions. What are your thoughts on this one, brother? And is it important for the government to know about the Sai organization, its activity and its contribution to nation building?
Let me answer that. When we started in Sai Council in Malaysia, many years ago, this was an issue also raised. What I've done in all my life, all of you have witnessed me from the time we started, I was 32 years old at the time. I just saw what Swami is doing. What does Swami do? Any function, you know, he'll invite the minister, the chief minister, this minister, that minister, everywhere, and cut the ribbon and hit a gong or whatever they do, okay? We don't even care for these fellas, we don't know who they are, we only want to see Swami. We don't know why does he do this? Because it is vital that we must work within, Baba says, you know, that we must work within the country's system, is here, government is here. People, you know, if the government should not take action against us, if they don't know about us, you know, they'll attack us, okay? People can complain in cabinet. This one happened to what are those guys, you know, who had the secret meetings, you know? Huh? What that? The Freemasons, because they're very controlled group, you know, no one knew. Then the government last time, you know, some guys in cabinet parliament, they raised an issue against Freemason. Now in Malaysia, no one dares talk about, no cabinet member, no one can complain about Simon because we made ourselves so transparent. We invite them and let them see what we're doing, you know. That's why we get all the support. So it is vital we work within the system of the government. We're not talking about which party in power. Whichever the prime minister, whichever the minister, we are concerned only about the position they are holding. Because why does Swami give so much about influence to these people? So much, you know what Baba says? Somebody asked me this question, Swami, why you give all this prominence? Hey, if I transform this chief minister, if I transform the minister, thousands will benefit. This is the reason. So we are transforming, look at that man, we are transforming them. They will now become interfaith people. This Director General, he'll become the most interfaith man in the world now. These are the Abhi people. Now we are transforming them. Likewise, we will make sure that, and at the state level, please, the members of parliament, whoever, let them come, let them know we are, and then they can then, we transform them, they will help thousands of others. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. One question here, brother. This is a very powerful question, and this is something that everybody can learn. Sister, you're so connected to Swami. So all these years you've lived with Swami. You have experienced his love. You have experienced everything. What is it? What do you do every day when you get up in the morning? Because you see, you have a I'm sure you must be having a blueprint of your life. Or how is it that you feel? How do you respond? How do you react to things? Because this is what we devotees would like to learn, so that we also can be like you, wirelessly connected to Bhagavan.
I don't. Thank you. Thank you for your vote of confidence in me. I don't know. The only thing I know is that Swami has loved me, and he has said that you should share that love. So as much as possible, I try to be as loving as I can to whoever I see in my life, from morning till evening, whether it is the children that I teach, or the parents that I meet, or the people around me. I can't say that I'm sometimes not unsuccessful. I am unsuccessful sometimes. Once I asked Swami, I said, Swami, you say you must love everyone. I'm in everybody's heart. And sometimes I feel like saying, Swami, get out of that heart. So it is difficult, but I've tried to do that, try to be loving, try to be understanding. That's all. I don't think I do anything other than that. But when you feel love towards other people, then you automatically try to help them. That's the human nature. It's within us already, that when we are loving towards it. And also the one thing I do try to do, I'm also by nature person who likes to have everything perfect. So what happens in turn is I will be critical. So I try to all the time look inward and not be critical of anything, but try to see the love and the motive behind anything that anybody has done. So I try to practice that. Other than that, I don't know, other than my usual prayers and things, which I don't know how much I'm understanding and saying now that Brother Changa has told his lovely story. But that's all I try to do, brothers and sisters. I'm sure if you practice that one thing as much as you can, you will all, and I'm sure you're all connected to Swami, you just haven't realized it, that's all.
The other thing, one more question is, you early morning when you get up, you pray?
I do. I have my routine of prayers which has come to me from childhood, which my parents have given me. I start my morning with prayers that has been taught to me as a child, and I continue to do that. But at the same time, if I'm traveling like this, sometimes I'm not able to keep that same routine. Whatever in the time that is given to me that I do. I do my prayers. I try to serve wherever I am. I don't sometimes join in with the center service activities, but wherever I am, I try to do help whoever comes across my path that day, and I try to be loving. These are the only 3 things that I can tell you.
Very powerful message. Like, for example, when you interview movie stars and all that, they'll ask, that kind of thing. But this is a spiritual thing, and the fact that one point she said is that she's always very self-critical about her own self and consistently analyzing whether her motives are right, or objectives are right, and so on. So, is this the same thing like with you? I mean, is it the same kind of...
With me, yes, I have my routine as well in terms of prayers and everything, but something that I have practiced for the past 10, 11 years is that whatever I do, I make sure Swami is with me. I don't keep Swami in the altar. I keep Swami in my heart, and I keep him next to me all the time. A lot of youth also asked me yesterday, this exact same question, and it's about if I'm driving, then Swami is with me in the car. Wherever I am, whatever I do, I make sure Swami is with me. And sometimes he also makes me aware that yes, he's with me. Like I fly very often, and a lot of times when I leave home, I say, Swami, let's go. We have a flight to catch. The entire plane will be full, but the seat next to me will be empty. And that is Swami showing his presence. If you take Swami with you always, you will never have any problems whatsoever, and you'll always feel his divinity. You'll not do anything wrong. One more question I'll also answer as well. some of the youth asked me yesterday, how do we know what is right, what is wrong? In our daily life, I'm sure all of us have situations where we don't know what is right, what is wrong, what would Swami like. I asked this question to Swami, Swami, how do we know what is right, what is wrong? And Swami gave the most beautiful answer. He said, ask me. If I speak these words, will Swami be happy? If I do this action, will Swami be happy? And even if I think this, will Swami be happy? And Swami said, if you ask me this, I will answer because I live in your heart. I am Hridaya Nivasi. Dear devotees, do this, you will get the answer all the time.
Thank you, brother.
Therefore, before you complain of another person and fight another person, ask yourself, is Swami be happy, okay? Because husband scolds the wife, ask the same question. Wife fights the husband, ask the same question, okay? This is not just other people. Eh? Let me tell you one more thing what Swami said about prayers, okay? Swami said, chant the Gayatri mantra 3 times when you go to bed. You need not chant it when you're lying down on your bed. Chant. Why? He said, it's very interesting, he said this. He said, it'll help cancel any consequence of accidental sin you may have committed. What does accidental sin mean? For example, you're walking on the grass outside. One grasshopper is there under your feet, okay? And you accidentally kill the fellow. Accidental sin. So that will cancel. But on the other hand, if you see a grasshopper there and you say, finish, then you must pay the karma for the day. That's an example. Number 2, sometimes during our daily life, we say something to some people. We don't mean to hurt the person, but the person gets hurt, okay? Quite innocently, and they walk away, the fellow feel very hurt. These are accidental sins. So, Swami says, chant this Gayatri Mantra 3 times. So what? I must say one more thing I do. The moment I get up every morning, before I get out of the bed, okay, I have big prayers I do, okay? So that for me, including chanting Gayatri 3 times, I sing 3 bhajans and everything I do on the bed before I get up. Okay? Because I want to make, when I go to bed, same thing. I chant the Gayatri, I chant a few of the mantras. Okay? Because when I go to bed, I want to make sure, God, listen, I'm going to sleep, okay? Look at me, okay? I'll make sure they know I'm sleeping. When the morning I get up, hey God, come on, I'm here, okay? Make sure. So make them aware you're around, you're aware, okay? So chant prayers, and then you do your other prayers. Do that also. But the Gayatri, for me, do it also. Okay, thank you.
Rosaraj, just, I talked about the Gayatri Mantra yesterday. The tune with which you sang the Gayatri was incorrect. I know a lot of centers around the world have been singing it this way. But please listen to Swami. Shall we have one round where we all chant Gayatri?
Yeah.
Do we have time for that?
One round, not underneath. one.
Just once. Okay, so I'll sing, and this is how Swami wants us to chant it, okay? Yeah. Om. Dear devotees, sing louder, sing with your heart, please. All the time, I always ask you to do this. Especially sit up straight. Swami likes this discipline, okay, when you sing. Don't like, please sit straight, yeah? Chanting the Gayatri Mantra is so powerful. Om. Bhur-bhuvasvaha. Tat-savitur-varenyam. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Dhiyo yona prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear devotees, please practice this. This is the correct tune. This is what Swami has taught us. The CD is available. I think every center must do this.
Now, there is also what I think Sai Council, we've got this now. Swami, in fact, in Purna Chandra, some years ago, was chanting the Gayatri Mantra for everyone to follow, okay? So perhaps we can, the CD is available. So perhaps Council can do a favor to the Sai centers and Just circle it all, send a copy of that Swami chanting. You can use that.